Has it really been 10 years of Pope Francis? Pope Francis elected 2013 after Benedict resigned. Why did he resign? Let's be honest, no one knows. But it's certainly been a vibrant 10 years, right? Like almost from the beginning, we knew that a thing that was so interesting about the that 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 was so interesting in 2005. I remember 2005 when Pope Benedict gets elected. Everyone knew who Pope Benedict or Cardinal Ratzinger was. Everyone knew. They're like, okay, this is essentially going to be an extension of the JP2 pontificate, and essentially it was because Ratzinger was the right hand man of John Paul II in the in John Paul II's pontificate. Then so yeah, it's John Paul II again. I'm surprised he didn't call himself John Paul III. So then you have Pope Francis. No one knows. No one knew who this guy was prior to his elevation to the papacy amongst the people I read anyway. I heard there were some trads that were kind of optimistic when he got elected because no one knew, this guy could be awesome. And then apparently they got a phone call from Argentina from a trad down there. And he's like, you have no idea how much trouble we're in. Well, now we know after 10 years. So, Pope Francis, 10 years. I don't think I need to convince you that this man is a bad pope. And I don't think it would be hard to convince you that he's the worst pope of all time. But let me say, what's the worst thing he's done? By the way, this live stream isn't going to be that long. What's the worst thing Pope Francis has done in his pontificate? Well, he's produced a bunch of bad documents, right? No, that's not the worst thing. Bad, but not the worst thing. He has stacked the College of Cardinals with his own lackeys. Again, not the worst thing. Bad, but not the worst thing. I'm actually not too worried about the next election, actually. A lot of people are saying, oh, the Pope Benedict and JP2 Cardinals are dying off. I'm like, why do you trust them? They're the ones who gave us Francis. Anyway. He has stacked the Curia with his cronies. Not the worst thing. Again, bad, but not the worst thing he's done. The worst thing he's done, and it's not go on steroids with the schism, although I do have, not schism, synod. I do have theories about why he called the synod on synodality that I haven't shared yet. And I'm going to share them now. Well, I may share them now. The worst thing Pope Francis has done, I'll just say this, in these 10 years, is he's created a climate where you can, if you're a priest, a bishop, a cardinal, you can preach anything and it's not heresy. Anything. Like, he's not going to come down on you for heresy unless you say something like the Latin Mass is awesome. Then he's going to come down on a sack of bricks like you, on you. But no, you can say anything you want. Look, has there been a response to what the German bishops did recently? No, there hasn't been a response to anything. Let me tell you why I think he called the synod. In Germany, they've had their own synodal process for several years, and they've been going over things that are taboo and saying good things about them. And so what happened is they're like, okay. And Pope Francis is against this, not because he's not sympathetic to some of their ideas, but he's scared of losing power. It's a power struggle. So what happens is he has his um he's calling his own synod, and he thought the Germans would basically give their synod up and go in with the global synod. Because it's like, hey, let's discuss these on a global level, not just a parish level. Then he was going to do the synods, essentially do nothing and get rid of the problem. But that didn't happen. So now he has two problems on his hands. One, he has the synod he created for the purpose is not doing its purpose, so it's going to be a dud. The second thing is the Germans have continued, and they're only getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And because of the climate that Francis has created these last 10 years, it's inconsistent to say, well, you can't say that stuff when other people are saying the same thing, not bishops' conferences or national bodies, but individual people are saying the same thing, and they're not getting reprimanded. Cardinal McElroy, who has reprimanded him, not the Pope, it was so encouraging when many bishops came out and not just responded to McElroy on social media, but firmly responded to him with articles. 3, Archbishop Aquila, Archbishop Newman, and Bishop Paprocki, who called him a heretic, which was beautiful, by the way. That really encouraged me. And of course, several other bishops retweeted it. Tobin, Strickland. Keep in mind, we're not talking about Cardinal Tobin here. We're talking about Bishop Tobin. They're night and day, quite literally. So yeah, that's so encouraging. And I think a lot of us are fed up. People are going around throwing our faith under the bus, wanting it to conform to the secular world, the worst of the secular world. Yo, what's up, Paul? At work, so probably can't reply that often. Okay, as long as you listen, you get to hear the incredible wisdom from yours truly. So, yeah, no, it's been incredibly encouraging, and I think in the last few years, there's been a desire to fight back against the people that are just pontificating, throwing our faith under the bus, which Francis has made possible. Now Francis is not the worst. He hasn't implemented female deacons or anything like that, and I don't think he will, to be honest. But the people that are promoting that and priesthood are aren't getting punished. In fact, Cardinal McElroy said in January, "Oh, female ordination to the priesthood will be one of the toughest things at the synod." No. How tough is it to say, no, that's heresy? Yet, you know what these modernists, in fact, Cardinal McElroy, in that interview that he gave on some heretical Jesuit podcast, he said, well, we're going to lose the younger generation. And he doesn't understand. It reminds me of a guy who is trying to date a girl, and he's being super nice, and he's getting friend zoned before he knows it and doesn't know what happened. He's trying to be too nice. And the girl, he wonders why the girl want nothing to do with him. Because no one wants that crap. No one wants McElroy's garbage. And I'm glad that several bishops came out and called him a heretic. Well, only one called him a heretic, but the others said he was firmly wrong in what he was doing. So I'm still waiting for the Vatican to come down hard on the German synod, a firm condemnation, not some pathetic, limp-wristed, well, this isn't the way to go. No, come out and do a firm condemnation. But he can't do that because he's going to be contradicting his legacy, because his legacy is anyone can say what they want. But now it's a threat to his power. So that's the only way he can do this, or else he's done, or else he's toast. And yeah, that's why he created the synod. Oh yeah, Germany, come fold yours, join the global. No, didn't work. So now I think he has two big pieces of fish on his platter that he does not want there. One's a synod and synodality because it didn't work. Two is the Germans, who just won't go away. This problem isn't going away, Pope Francis. The big tent, well, you know what? The big tent, people in the big tent need to be told what to do, especially in this case. It's like, look, gay blessings of homo unions. We've decided, the CDF in 2021 said no, not to mention 2,000 years of scripture and tradition, and saints and popes have all said no. Of course, they haven't addressed that because no one's been so stupid to bring it up. But in this modern era, see, that's the thing. Why would you want to make the church identical to the worst of the modern world? I mean, to compromise with the world's one thing, with the worst of the modern world. So yeah, so Pope Francis has created his climate of chaos, where you can imagine if the German bishops had said, we're going to try to expand the traditional Latin Mass. You think you think Pope Francis would just sit idly by? You think Cardinal Roche would just sit idly by? No. They're like, all right, target found, engaged. That's what would happen. But now it's kind of like, well, we got to be patient, so we're worried about scam. I feel terrible if you're a true believer in Germany right now, because your bishops are working their darndest to keep you from salvation. If you're a true believer, they're working their best to try to thwart you, to destroy your faith, the faith of your kids. And this climate was all made possible by Pope Francis. You know, everyone can say what they want. No, now it's ironic. This guy Sheepdog says Germany needs to be split open again. It's ironic that the first Protestant countries were Germany and England. I guess Switzerland was there too. And not long ago, England, the Church of England in England said, we're going to bless homo unions. And, you know, God bless people like Calvin Robinson, who are holding the ground over in England, trying to hold the ground for the true faith there, or at least that true part of their faith. And yeah, and it just common sense. It's common sense. Now, the good news is, there is good news. The Francis pontificate is just what we needed. I'll tell you why. Because with John Paul II and Pope Benedict, they were better popes, but they threw out enough bones to keep Catholics, true Catholics, satisfied. They're like, okay, all right, yeah, we're good. But now all that's gone. All that is gone. Yes, that's true. Not everyone in Germany is compromised, and God bless the bishops and the priest who opposed it. Yeah, God bless them. We wish them victory. And the good news is, guys, is that no one who believes what Francis believes is going into the priesthood these days. No one. The modernists they're not getting any replacements. Probably. Now, the problem they're not getting any replacements, but the problem is they own the most valuable seats. They got the papacy, the curia, a lot of the cardinals. Actually, believe it or not, a lot of the cardinals aren't that bad. They're like, well, Pope Francis has put in 60% of the cardinals. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, Cardinal Mueller. Who made Cardinal Mueller a cardinal? Francis. And he's making random bishops from Africa, from the Philippines, from places like that, cardinals. Do you think all these random people, because he's trying to make the global church, are rank liberals like he is? No, not likely. So that's what we need. So there's nothing there's no future for the modernism in the Catholic Church, and priestly celibacy is helping to ensure that. That's why we must defend priestly celibacy, guys. That's the most important thing we need. Pope Francis said something against it yesterday in some airplane interview, and of course, we all know that the airplane interviews are ex-cathedra statements that carry the same mark of infallibility as in the eyes of the secular world. An airplane interview is kind of like, who cares? It's an airplane. It's not like he's writing an apostolic constitution, right? So the thing is, we just need to keep holding the line for 10 or 15 years. And there's a good chance we just need to wait for all the modernists to die off. And there's a good chance they will, but keep in mind, they have the positions of power right now, so we have to hold the line. I think all this started with Archbishop Vigano with his first letter in 2018. I remember I'd come back from vacation. I'd been home from vacation for, I think, 3 or 4 days. It came out on August 20 something. On the 21st, I'd come back from vacation. So I think this was the 22nd, 23rd. I remember it was a beautiful, beautiful day out there. It was a late summer day. I was in the neighborhood. It was warm out. And I was going to pick up some sushi. I'd ordered some sushi from this amazing sushi place not too far from here. And I just took a look at my phone, and it had just blown up. The only other day my phone had blown up that much was the morning of Traditionis Custodes. Ironically. Just need some more water. So at that point, I think that was the first counter to this. The first counter to, we have had enough. Our faith is being made a mockery of. And like me, someone like me, people who are trying to preach the gospel to Protestants, to Eastern Orthodox, to atheists, to Jews, Muslims, that's being hindered by the hierarchy and the atmosphere that the Pope has created. So finally, Cardinal, not Cardinal, Carlo Maria Vigano's like, I don't care. The gloves are off. And since then, a lot of people have just opened up and don't care anymore. And it's spreading to the clergy as well. Technically, Archbishop Vigano was clergy, but he was only a diocesan. He was not a diocesan bishop. The 3 bishops that responded to McElroy are diocesan bishops, and believe me, there's tons of people that support him. So part of this global synod is the continental phase, where the clergy are going to get together and talk about things. I'm optimistic because now I see the hunger to defeat the modernism. Now I see the hunger. I see how we are fed up with these clowns like Cardinal McElroy and several other people that Francis has put in high positions. Supich, that that sick piece of garbage. Um, who is the biggest enemy of the Catholics in Chicago. If you're a Catholic in Chicago, I feel bad for you because your archbishop is a just a rank liberal. He's from that generation. In like I think he's born in 49. You know, that's the peak boomer generation. Cardinal McElroy was born in the 50s. Cardinal Roche, when was Cardinal Roche born? Cardinal Roche. He was born the 6th of March, 1950. Interesting. That is the same month my dad was born. March of 1950. Now everyone knows how old my dad is. So yeah, and he's from that generation. That's the generation that's really bad right now. That is just throwing our faith under the bus. And now they can say it because of the climate that Francis has created. All right. All right. If anyone has questions, throw them in now. I don't have a lot more to say. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, the Francis pontificate has been a blessing because now the rot is available for the whole world to see. And it's not just a pre-scandal here or there. It's the rot that has been happening for a while. The modernist rot that's been creeping through the seams of the church. And because of someone like Francis, now everyone knows. Everyone knows how terrible this climate is. All right, bring on the questions, guys. Bring on. Oh, that's a good one. We will get women deacons question. Will we get women deacons? I don't think so. I don't think so because think he could have done this already. He could have done this, and he's had groups do research, and it's concluded. I don't think we're going to have female deacons. I'm 80 to 90% sure we're not going to have it. And there are again, I'm optimistic because the part where all the bishops discuss now, a lot of the bishops know a lot better now. They know what they're up against, and look, you have 3 bishops come out against Cardinal McElroy. Those 3 bishops represent tons of bishops who were too busy or too scared, or I don't think scared, that they were just in the business of managing their diocese to write responses like that. Is there a possibility that Francis was not validly ordained and isn't a true pope? I guess it's always possible, but the probability is extremely low. I don't see. Can you prove his ordination is wrong? Like, did the bishop ordaining him sneeze during some important words? If you have proof for that, I'd like to see it. Welcome to Reason and Theology Live. Now we heard a certain rad track called Alden Roseman speaking evil suspicion of the Holy Father. This is incredibly uncharitable and not nuanced. I am nuanced, uncharitable at times, but there is nuance, much nuance to be had. All right, guys, I'm not going to keep this going much longer. If you want, put in your comments something about the Francis pontificate. Oh, it's been great because of this. It's been bad because of this. It's been in Oh, by the way, today on Reason and Theology, Lofton had a good thing responding to Bart Ehrman, which I thought was pretty good, actually. I caught that. It was a 12-minute clip on RNT. There are some saying that Pope Benedict was still alive and therefore another pope couldn't be installed while he was alive. This has happened in the past, though, with the last pope that resigned. I know it's stupid. I really wish he hadn't resigned, but now he did do us a service in a way, because Francis has shown us the rot, and that's why we're fighting hard. I am encouraged at this point. If I were a modernist, I would be scared. That's right, you modernists. You know that your days are numbered. In fact, Thomas Reese is a Jesuit priest. He's great, and I'll tell you why. He says what the other side is thinking. He says what they're thinking. If things are going well, he'll be honest. If things are going bad, he'll be honest. He's good, guys. He is good. Fully recommend you check out his stuff. He's far left. Far left. He's even denied transubstantiation. Of course, nothing's happened because you can say anything at no consequence under the Francis pontificate, but his Jesuit superiors haven't done anything because they're cowards, and they probably don't believe in transubstantiation either, or most of the Catholic faith. The Jesuits are trash. In fact, I remember the day Francis was elected. Okay, that's a good question. Will Francis shut down the FSSP and the Institute and the rest? I think he'd like to, but he's not going to get to. His primary target now, both him and Cardinal Roche, his primary target is the diocesan Latin masses. He wants those gone quickly. And in fact, I think he was under the false impression that he came out with Traditionis Custodes in July of 2021. I think he thought by Christmas about 90% of diocesan Latin masses would be gone. So no. So their goal is to wipe out the diocesan Latin mass, not the fraternity and the society. Yet. I'm sure they got plans for that in the future, but they need to get the diocesan Latin mass crushed first, and they're having troubles. A lot of bishops were trying to go around it because Pope Francis is like, oh yeah, power back to the bishops. Then the bishops aren't doing what he wanted. Again, he thinks they're all wacko leftists like him, but they're not. Most don't have a problem with that. So, long story short, no, they're trying to go. Their target now is the diocesan Latin masses, and in fact, I wrote an article on 1 Peter 5. It came out 1 week ago today. Go read that article. It's called "What's the Vatican's Target" or something like that. I don't know for sure because I actually didn't pick the title. I just wrote the article. Either way, but I don't think he's going to get there. He's not going to crush the diocesan Latin masses because he's underestimated us. So I think I'm going to pack it in here. It's 6:30 here. I got to eat supper, but I just wanted to share my thoughts. 10 years, Pope Francis, and Guys, I invite you to share your thoughts of the last 10 years of the Francis papacy. Go share it. And I'm going to kill the stream. I wish everyone a strong finish to Lent. We're in the second half of Lent. We're on the home stretch. So keep those fasts up, keep the prayer up, and just hang in there. All will be well in the end. The modernism will be crushed. And there's some signs. It might even happen a lot quicker than we think. Or it might be a while. But it's going to happen, guys. And Pope Francis, his 10 years pontificate has woken a lot of people up. They all see the rot. And it's going to end beautifully with the modernist anathematized. But that isn't today. It's sometime in the future. So I will let you guys go. God bless. Pray the rosary. Read the Bible every day. Pray the rosary every day. And this is Alan Rule signing off. God bless.